So, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, the end of the Guardians, I guess. And the end of the MCU for a lot of people. I know a lot of people wanted to watch this movie, and then they'd be done, supposedly. So, no spoilers, but let's start at the end. And what I mean by that is, how did this movie leave me feeling? Satisfied. Satisfied. It rounded itself out in a really, really nice way. However, bearing in mind, I liked this movie, right? I had a good time with this movie. However, it meanders quite a lot to get there. And it is a bit disjointed, you know? Like, if you're going into this movie expecting it to be Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1, nah, it's not that at all. Like, it's not the same. The jokes don't land as much as they did in the first one. I don't know what it is. The humour, it just doesn't land as much. Like, it's just not as good. It's not as quick. The use of music, which is a big thing for James Gunn. He loves his music. Doesn't work in this quite as much. So in the first one, compare it to the first one, because this makes a lot of sense. Because the music was always an entry point for our character of Chris Pratt, Star-Lord. He was listening to the music, and then we, the audience, heard that music. And then, it would sort of drown out and kind of go from there. I don't remember it being as disjointed as this movie. So, some of the backing tracks are just songs. Just songs. And it felt a bit like the Suicide Squad in that regard. James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. So, I wasn't a massive fan of that. I feel like they've missed the trick there. I'm comparing it to the first one, because a lot of people have fond memories of the Guardians of the Galaxy because of the first one. And so do I. So, if you're going into it expecting that, and this is why I'm comparing it, it's not the same. But it's a satisfying conclusion overall to the Guardians as a property. Because supposedly everyone's done now. They're not coming back. They're all done. And they do round it out in that way where they are done. They can just go off and they're not going to be coming back again. And it does make sense. So, the core story is about Rocket Raccoon and the High Evolutionary. The High Evolutionary, the actor is superb. Really, really, really good actor. Does a very good job of playing this sort of psychotic megalomaniac that just wants to cut things up in an effort to create a perfect life form. There's literally a line, something along the lines of, there is no God, that's why I stepped in, or something like that. I mean, this guy's a true God complex egotist, right? But the actor is fantastic. Feels slightly underused, but a good actor. Really, really good actor. Rocket Raccoon's story overall is the heart and soul of this movie. The avenue to get there, and it to be Rocket's story, and to tie it to the High Evolutionary, all this kind of stuff, right, is where it starts to meander. So, we have the introduction of Adam Warlock. So Adam Warlock's introduced, and he's introduced because the High Evolutionary took him out of his cocoon earlier than he should be. So Will Poulter plays a bit of a... I mean, he's dumb, like he's a child. Adam Warlock is a child in this, basically. Mentally he's a child. What he can physically do is great, and he's not nerfed in any regard at all. But mental capacity he's lacking. And they don't... I think some of it's played for jokes, and some of it just doesn't land, I think. The stuff which I didn't think was played for jokes, I just don't think it landed, personally. And obviously, Elizabeth Debicki, I can't remember their name, the Golden People, plays... Adam Warlock calls her his mother. And basically, Adam Warlock is sent to grab Rocket Raccoon for the High Evolutionary. Rocket Raccoon then essentially experiences a severe injury and he's going to die. And thus, I'm trying to say this as non-spoilery as possible, and thus, the story continues to how the Guardians end up going to the High Evolutionary, and then the whole story plays out. There's flashbacks, there's flash forwards, and some of it is really quite tough. Well, is it tough to watch? I guess so, to a certain regard, because we like these CGI characters, regardless of whether they're CGI or not. They craft really, really well thought out characters, and you feel for them a little bit. And the Bradley Cooper, who plays Rocket Raccoon, does a really good job with the emotional element there. So all of that's really, really good, but it's very meandering to get there. Like it seems, some of it seems quite forced, and again, a lot of it doesn't land. You sort of you're going through this story, and then there's subplots. There's Chris Pratt, Star-Lord, and Zoe Saldana's Gamora. He's trying to get her back. There's all these sort of subplots that realistically didn't need to be a part of it, but because it's the last movie, they intertwine all of these things in an effort to try to just wrap it all up in one neat bow. And it doesn't all land. However, again, I've got to keep saying that, however, because the end is satisfying. So it'd be different if this movie did all of that and then the end just didn't land. You'd walk out the theatre going, that was absolute dog shit. You would. However, you're watching it, you let something slide, you enjoy a lot of it, and then it ends up nice, it rounds out nicely in terms of it combines the end to a satisfying conclusion. You go, it was alright then. So if they didn't hit the landing, it would be a complete failure of a movie. Let's put it that way. But they hit the landing, and overall, I enjoyed it. They really dumb up Drax, though. There's a lot of things which, to me, like the constant shouting from Mantis, and the constant shouting from Nebula, Karen Gillan, I don't understand. It's almost like they put like a fat suit on her. I don't get it. They've like paunched. She's got a little paunch. She's 4 months pregnant or something. It's very weird. And they've obviously added, she's a slim, look at her Instagram, she's like a supermodel figure, right? So I don't know what they've done. I don't know why they've done it either. They've just like paunched her up. It's fucking weird, man. It's very strange. But overall, Rocket Raccoon's story is really, really good. It's emotional. You really feel for him. It's a satisfying conclusion. But it does meander a bit to get there. This is one of those movies where the CGI was better. Still not great, but it was better. It was definitely better. All in all, can I recommend this movie? I don't know, because I think a lot of people will be going into it expecting it to be like the first one, and it's just not. A lot of the jokes just don't land for me, personally. But maybe a satisfying conclusion to the Guardians franchise, I guess. Yeah, so probably watch it. There's no other good Marvel movies now, is there, really? So, yeah. This isn't mindlessly hating. I had a good time with the film. I just don't know whether I can wholeheartedly recommend it to a lot of people. Cinemas are expensive. It's 2.5 hours. You really do feel the runtime. The post-credit scenes were completely redundant. You don't actually need to stay for them, by the way, just as an FYI. You don't need to stay for them. There's nothing really revealed in there at all. So there you have it. That's my review. A bit of a meandering, twisting, turning, poor pace movie here and there, but a satisfying conclusion overall, and it ends up quite nice. Let me know what you think, though, if you've seen it. I know a lot of people wouldn't have, because it's out a day early in the UK, and then it's going to be released tomorrow for you guys in the States, and then other parts of the world as well. So there you have it, guys. Let me know what you think down below. Cheers, guys. Take care. Have a great day. Hit subscribe. Give the video a like. Peace out.